Hello again. So doing the last unboxing video with the XH data was kind of fun. So I thought, why not do another one? Let's just pretend I never unboxed this radio. And let's pretend I didn't own it for a couple of months now. It's the Tecsun R9012. Shortwave, medium wave, FM radio. The box is all in Chinese. But we don't need the box. Let's open it up and see what we get. It'll be interesting in comparison to the XH data, I guess. Let's put it on the side. What do we get? I don't expect much. Let's discard the box. Bubble wrap. Operation manual. That's it. Put in some batteries and start the radio. Let's have a quick look at the specifications. Sorry for the lighting conditions. It says 3.9 to 21.85 megahertz shortwave, implying kind of that it has continuous coverage, which it doesn't. Here we go. It's nice and lightweight. Same size as the XH data. Maybe a little slightly bigger, but it doesn't really matter. Switch feels like same quality as on the XH data, but we don't get that nice white spot thing that indicates where we are. And it's kind of hard to see on that one. Like we got a black dot and black background. I actually got two black dots. I find myself counting where I am more often than looking at it. On off, tuning wheel. Back, we got a kickstand, two AA batteries. Let's leave that one open. Volume, stereo FM headphones. 3 volts, negative center. As you can see, my unit is kind of beat up already. Fell off out of my pocket while on a bike. I'm gonna insert some batteries. And the interesting thing about this radio is that it's 100% analog. It's a super heterodyne signal conversion radio. Signal conversion kind of means that we would have some kind of mirroring. Dual conversion, always better. The antenna is about the same length as on the XH data, so kind of short, you know. Feels good though, feels a little better to, you know, put back together and take out. A little smoother than on the XH data. And about the coverage, that's kind of interesting. The back says, so the manual said implied continuous coverage. The back, look at the bands. They're very, very narrow, like 75 meter band, 3.9 to 4 megahertz. That's kind of odd. And if we look at the front, we can see it's not 3.9 and up to 4 megahertz, which would be kind of that range right here. It's 3.7 to 4.2, and in reality it's kind of more like 3.6 to 4.2 with this particular unit. I've seen other units, like a friend of mine owns, that is kind of in that range that is written up there, but this one in all the bands goes a little further, like it will go to 5.8, and yeah, so that's kind of lucky, but it's still relatively precise in tuning, especially on the medium wave band. And yeah, it's a fun little radio that sounds surprisingly good. In fact, let's turn it on and do some medium wave, some FM scanning real quick. It's not very good on FM. In fact, it's very bad on FM. You can see it starts at 76 megahertz up to 108, and here in Germany the stations start at 87 point something megahertz. So we shouldn't have any stations up here in that range, but we will find some signals there because they are mirroring from that frequencies to over there, and it's not very selective at all. I don't get many stations on FM, only the very strong ones, and you won't get the weaker stations. But it sounds good. For that size, it sounds much better than the XH data in my opinion. So let's turn it on. Aha! Hold on. I put in the batteries the wrong way around. There we go. Snap back on. There we go. There you see? That's the mirroring. There are no stations in that range, but we still get signal.
Die Kinder, sie sagt.
But the sound is good. It's a nice sound. It's a much wider filter than on the XH data. Probably also part of the reason why it's not very selective on FM. What's nice is that we got the tuning indicator light. Really helpful actually. The XH data doesn't have that, which is a bummer. And you can see we don't find many stations, so not really worth buying this one if you wanna listen to FM. Where it's really good is shortwave and actually medium wave. I cannot show you medium wave right now because it's broad daylight, and here in Germany we don't have any local medium wave stations, so all we're gonna hear is noise. So here's a little video of me doing a medium wave scan at night, catching the skywave. First station on Hungary.
Számukra jó hír, hogy továbbra is fenntartható. في منذ الستينات في نظرة التحقيق الأستاذ الطرف الملكي.
So BBC 5 Live, 693. They, I think, from Slovakia. BBC Scotland for sure if it's back, but you can see it's almost precisely on 810 where this station would be. And that must be 999 kilohertz, 999, Moldavia. Talksport. Radio Romania Actualidad, I think. Because it just said Romania.
Sooner or later, they will all fill up and become expensive waterfalls. Nevertheless, the building of large dams continues, much of it promoted and funded by the World Bank.
Dutch station. Leica from London. Very strong signal always. No idea. Ukrainian radio. Probably. Radio Gold, which will be thoroughly missed next month when they stop broadcasting on medium wave. Okay, let's check the shortwave real quick. Just want to show you that it's actually working pretty well. People always claim, or often claim, that this radio is prone to overloading if you use an external antenna, and that is actually true. But it is not that bad that you cannot use an external antenna at all. You can. You just have to kind of be careful. You know, sometimes if it's overloading, you just have to, instead of connecting the copper on the antenna, you just don't connect the core of the wire, just connect the outside of the wire, wrap it around, and it will induce enough signal. You can kind of, reduce gain that way if you want. Let's check for Ifrika FM on 21.55. Oh, should connect the wire. See if I'm not sure if they're broadcasting right now. Probably aren't. Let's just go there in the 19-meter band real quick. Voice of Turkey, which usually is a pretty strong station, and you can see it's not overloading. At the edge of overloading, but it's still fine. Removing the wire. See, it's kind of strong signal. Antenna is still collapsing. We're getting it. See, wrapping it around, it's enough. No need to connect the core. We can, of course, connect the core, but for Radio China that would be too much. And yeah, you can see it's a proper analog radio. You can hear that. It's the sound of an analog radio. The way the stations kind of naturally show up and disappear. It is more prone to noise compared to the XH data, that is for sure. Kind of sad, but that's what it is. And the tuning wheel is kind of, it doesn't feel as good as on the XH data. It has a lot of play in it, as you can see. I'm wobbling around, nothing happens on the radio though. But it's okay. The dial is kind of precise. And yeah, FM is not very good, but medium wave makes up for the bad FM. It's really good on medium wave. And if you want to see an in-depth shortwave scan, I did one. Here's a link, probably up there. Out in the field, on a mountain, on a hill top, in the nature, on the web. Yeah, anyways, check out that video if you want to see the whole shortwave scan. It's fun to tune around. It's a fun little radio, and I actually like using that if I'm out with the bike somewhere out by the riverside or whatever, where I don't want to take a more expensive radio. These sell for around 20 euros at the moment. I think 18.99 or so on eBay. They used to be much cheaper, around 12.99 I think. It went up in price, but it's still an okay price. It gets all the station the XH data gets, and the XH data gets all the stations the Tecsun gets. You get a wider range on the XH data, but there aren't actually stations, or usually stations, at least in my area, that show up in that extended range. So this one is perfectly fine. Don't get irritated by what the back says. It's way too narrow, what they wrote up there. Don't get too irritated by what is written up there, because in my case, that's too narrow too. So I'm pretty happy with this little radio. It's fun to use, great on medium wave, still a good price, and it's just fun because it's analog. It's a proper old school radio. No DSP chips, no synthesized nothing, just a tuning wheel, very simple. The batteries last forever. We get a little tuning indicator. It's fun. I like using this. Glad I bought it. Great investment. Not really a great investment, but great fun to have. Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. I'm gonna show you the other radios I have as well. Peace. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share the video. Help the channel grow. Let's take over YouTube.